Hey everyone, it's TTL back with another video for you, and today we're going to take a look at the Lian Li Q58. And that's because a lot of you have been asking me to look at some more compact cases, and this one is definitely that. I'm actually quite impressed because there is a lot of little details in this that make little case, that actually makes it a very cool and usable, but also surprisingly that you can fit quite a lot of big hardware in it for such a small footprint. I mean, if you'd put it that way, it's not much bigger than an Xbox. Anyway, it's review time. So it's a small case, but how small is it? Well, width-wise, it comes in at 1703 millimeters, 173 millimeters. Crikey, it's not 1700. 173 millimeters, which is 17.4 centimeters. Just so we're there. Height-wise, from the desk, it is 270, and then length-wise, it is 343-ish. Maybe 344. Now, one of the things we always do with my reviews is start at the top, and that's where we will go today. So it's just a meshed panel. Now, you can undo the thumb screw at the back, and then the whole roof panel unclips. And this is one of the reasons why I've we always start here anyway, but you can see that there is mounts here for 220mm or 240mm fans, and you can kind of move them around as well, so you've got adjustability. Now, it does come with, in the box, an option, which is quite cool, that you can take this panel out and you can swap it in for a single fan mount, but then you also get a full-size ITX power supply bracket instead of the second fan, if you would like it. Inside, there is an SFX power supply mount. You just remove that, few screws, and then so you've got options for both power supplies in there. I'll talk to you about my thoughts with like config and that sort of thing as we move around. But at the front, you've got a combined headphone microphone port. You've got your power switch, USB-C, and then normal USB 3.2 Gen 2. So not very many connectivity options on the front, but to be fair, let's face facts, most of us are going to be plonking them all around the back anyway. And while we are around the back, you can see that there is this funky dunky little flap. I love the little Lian Li badge on it, but when you do pull this back, it's a fan hub. So you can, why you'd want to have access to it that easily, it baffles me. But when you've got all your kit in there, it could be kind of handy. So, because you could end up with this being absolutely jam-packed. The only thing I will say is with the configuration of everything that's going on, it might not be in the tidiest cable option, but I still think it's pretty cool. And I love the fact it's little magnetic, and I don't know why, but this Lian Li badge just is doing it for me. Look, I'm going to zoom you in so that you can have a look. I'm getting sad. There we go, catching the light. So yes, that's where that is. So this would be where your I/O for your ITX motherboard will be. If you end up with a board that is just ITX, you're going to be fine. I can't remember what the impact board is called size-wise, but an ITX board should just be those screws there and then pretty much straight along, because of the extra length on the impact. And as you can see, this is the X570 one, so it's the crosshair impact. It means that it wouldn't work with the riser cable that is in the case. Now, with the riser cable, there are two options. They do a PCI Express 3 and a PCI Express 4 version. The PCI Express 4 version is more expensive by about £40, so it's a big difference. But if you have an X570 board, for example, which is PCI Express 4, if you try put in a PCI Express 3 riser cable in it with a PCI Express 4 graphics card, you can run into some blue screen issues, and sometimes that means you need to go and turn the PCI Express 4 settings in the BIOS down to 3, but that could limit your hard drive performance if you're running an NVMe. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. With the case itself, if you have a look on the box, you can see here W4. Now W4, white 4, the 4 stands for PCI Express 4. If it was W3, it would be PCI Express 3. If it's a black case, it will be X, so it's either X3 or X4. That's a really simple, easy way, and if you've got a new graphics card and you're wondering why this case is giving you blue screens, then at least you've got an idea why. I'm going to give you another little tip here, and I'm going to zoom you in for it, just so that you can see what's going on. So, thumb screw here is for the window. You can see it opens up, but there's a rubber washer on the other side, and it always rolls round. On this side, I've taken the rubber washer out, because if I take the rubber washer out, and then when I do the screw up, it stays up. So all you need to do is remove that little washer, and I'm going to do it for you on camera so that you can see. It's like TTL's tips. There we go. Pulled it off. Now, it's nice that they put the washer on there, but in reality, I don't think they needed to, because then once it's up, and now I've said it's not doing it. There we go. There we go. Right, so there we go. It is up. And then also, while we're here, with the Batman gull wing doors, I think it's actually kind of cool, the bottom all opens up like it as well. Now I love this. So you've got a little a viewing panel is, for want of a better term, what you've got at the top, and then you've got vents there. Now the vents at the bottom are for the fact that you might have a CPU cooler in this side, because this is where the motherboard should be, and then in this side, this is where the graphics card is. And if you have a look, you can see that this is your riser cable. It comes up, goes through the little flap, and then it would go around the other side, and then you would have it plugged into your motherboard. You can see the doofer there, and that's why you can't have longer than an ITX board in there, because you can see the pins on that. It would clip into your motherboard right at the very bottom. So it means if you have that Asus one, then it's actually going to be really in the way, and it's just going to end up being a bit of a ball ache. So visibly, with these windows here, I think what you're going to end up with, I don't know why this one, there we go, don't know what you're going to end up with, is not really a lot to see here, and then on this side, the vents are going to be where the graphics card is, so you're not really going to have a lot to see here either. So it's a bit of a weird one. In that, I love the tempered glass, but I actually think it would have been better with just mesh, because it would have cleaned it up, and you would have had better airflow. So if we put all of the sides back on, so with the, excuse me, air cooling on this side, I'm going to pop the details up on the screen of the coolers that you can use in the case. But if you were to go with an air cooler, there really isn't a great deal of room there, and I think unless you're trying to build something like on a lower budget, but by lower budget I mean lower power, so maybe you're just building this as like an office system or something like that, then you could get away with an air cooler. If you're going to go gaming, which to be fair, with the size of the graphics card that you can have down the side here, I reckon you can go somewhere between 305mm or 310mm at a push for a graphics card down the side. I think you're going to be missing out if you end up running an air cooler on this side. But because of the mass of fan options in the roof, and there is a good amount of drop there for you, you can fit an AIO water cooler. So you could have, let's say, if you've got the money, a 3080 Ti down this side, you could have a 5900X down in this side, off of a water cooler with a 240 or a 280mm AIO in the roof. And even if you keep the SFX power supply, you can get 750 watt SFX power supplies now. So I actually think that you could cram an awful lot into this as long as you pick your hardware correctly. So I'm definitely saying get one of the SFX, Corsair do them, Be Quiet do them, I think Silverstone still do them as well. So you've got quite a few power supply options, and I definitely would keep this one. I'd also get some of the shorter braided cables because you've not got very far to go. You've literally only, and Corsair do shorter cable packs. You only need to go to here with your 24 pin, slightly further around with the 8 pin, and it's literally over the top for the PCI Express cables. So SFX, do that. It's going to make your life a lot easier and keep things with a decent amount of airflow. AIO water cooler down this side for the CPU, bish bash bosh. That will also give you the fans exhausting out the top. Now we've not spoken about intake, but on the bottom down here there is this little removable panel, and the little removable panel has, we have a visitor. Oh, you bit hot knobs. Oh, it's a good girl. There you go. You're going to be in another video. Oh, she's purring. Seems the light coming up for when I'm filming. Anyway, so in the bottom, removable panel here. You can see that there are some grommets here if you want to put like, well, you could put a pump there if you actually really wanted. But I think you need to be putting a 120mm fan in here to help blow up. Now it's still going to be below the power supply, but most importantly this section here is where the graphics card is, and I think it's definitely going to help. But you can see that there are a lot of vents here, so if your graphics card's not completely useless, it should do fairly well anyway. But you've also got the vents. Anyway, actually that's not the graphics card side, that is. But anyway, still the point, underneath, draw the air in from over here. It's going to give your graphics card and the case in general a decent bit of extra airflow. The only other bits and bobs that you do get inside the box, but I've not kind of mentioned it because I don't think many of you are going to want it. This is one, it came mounted in the roof, and it's so you can fit a mechanical hard drive, but it completely covers up a fan in reality, and I think you're going to need them on this. But what you also do get, if you wanted to have a fan in the bottom, they do send you a magnetic dust filter for the bottom of the case, for those of you out there that are going to be running a performance rig. Okay, so the Q58 PCI Express 4 version is going to be around £150, so it's expensive for the size. I will say that the panels here, the glass panels, they are going to give you a look inside, and you will be able to see kind of the top of your graphics card, and it is nice, but I can't help but think that they probably would have been better if they were just vents. And I know you do get them in the bottom, but then also in the bottom there is no dust filtering on this panel at all. You can buy like really fine sort of meshing stuff that you can use for dust filters, and I think if this was mine I'd probably want to be adding that, because if you've got a decent graphics card it is going to be pulling extra air in the side, and I think you are going to need it. Although you did get a dust filter for the fan on the bottom, it's only on the fan, and there's a large area here where it's still probably going to draw air in, especially if you follow my path of putting an AIO in the roof. Then all of that airflow, which we're going to need for a high-end rig, is going to then draw air in all the other places. So I do think it's lacking on the dust filtering front. That said, I think they've done an incredibly good job of enabling you to put an awful lot of hardware in such a small space. So I'm kind of torn with it in that, for the size, it's expensive and it definitely needs those dust filters, but you can get an awful lot in a small place, and they've done a really good job of it and made your life actually really easy. So I'm going to give it our entry level award, which is OC3D approved, because it is a cracking case, but it's just a bit expensive, and there are a couple of things I think they probably should have done. with the design. But that said, if you're a modder, if you're an actual PC enthusiast that you want to build, you want to tweak, you want to play around, I think you could really get your teeth sunk into this. I think you can make yourself an amazing little rig that could actually house an epically powerful gaming rig. If you do buy one of these, if you do end up doing a build in one of these, please show me, tweet me on at TinyTomLogan on Twitter. I've got that on Insta as well. I'd love to see them. So please do let me know. But for now, at least, this is the tiniest one out. Love you, sis.